Ladies and gentlemen, now we have the queen of rock and roll hear us, and a fine country singer too, the great Wanda Jackson. Wanda, how are you?
Hi, Paul. Well, I'm just great today. Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming here on the program. We've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
So I guess we should get started. At the beginning, your father bought you your first guitar when you were just a young girl, right? How old were you exactly?
Oh, I was either 6 or 7, pretty young.
Yeah, and he gave you lessons and encouraged you to play the piano, too.
Right. He was a musician. He played in a band and sang, played fiddle and guitar, and once in a while maybe some piano. But then after he met and married my mother, he had to quit singing because the Depression was on when they got married, and so times were pretty hard.
Sure.
And they eventually moved to California from Oklahoma in order to find jobs, which so many of the people in the Midwest did back in the 40s. We had to go out there to find work. And so it was there that Dad introduced me to the guitar, and then a little bit later I took a few years of piano lessons. But they knew I had a real love for music in my heart. You know, I never had to be coaxed into practicing or coaxed into singing for anybody, and it's just been my passion all my life. I truly love singing and performing. And then a little bit later in our story, we'll get there, but he got to travel with me and act as my manager, my road manager, business manager, and he got to live a little bit of his dream through me.
Sure.
So it worked very good for him.
Now, he also introduced you and took you to see quite frequently such acts as Tex Williams, Spade Cooley, Bob Wills, and I know a personal favorite of yours, Hank Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure these artists had a great impression on you and your style of music and performing.
Right, absolutely. Mother and Daddy loved to dance, and they were really beautiful dancers. And so almost every weekend in the Los Angeles area, some Western swing band was playing, and so they'd go dancing, and people didn't get babysitters. Back then, you just took your kids with you wherever you went. So
Sure.
That's how I was introduced to these big, wonderful bands at such an early age. And I was told I would stand right there in front of the band all night long and look up at the singers and musicians, and so they knew that I loved it.
Sure. And so am I correct to say that your professional career really began in 1952 when you won a local talent contest in Oklahoma City?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, that would be correct.
And from winning the contest, you were given a 15-minute daily show on KLPR, and the program was soon upped to 30 minutes, and it lasted throughout your high school years. But I understand one of your heroes actually heard your radio show one day.
That's right.
A man by the name of Hank Thompson heard you sing, and then he asked you to record with his band, the Brazos Valley Boys. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Right. He called after my radio program one day and invited me to come sing with his band that Saturday night at the dance in Oklahoma City, the Trianon Ballroom. And it just about thrilled me to death. I'm surprised I didn't faint right there on the phone, but I did tell him, well, I'd love to, Mr. Thompson, but I'll have to ask my mother. So, of course, I went to sing with him, and, I was pretty popular around locally
Sure.
for such a young girl, playing guitar and singing country music. So it was kind of new. And then eventually he got a television show here, which he put me on that also. Then he wanted to help me get a recording contract, which he did with Decca Records, and I signed with Decca when I was 16 years old. I was a junior in high school. So that was a very thrilling thing in my young life.
Sure, and Hank's band used to back you up on those records, and you actually had a national hit from those early days with Billy Gray, Hank Thompson's band leader, and I believe the song was "You Can't Have My Love."
Right. You have done your homework, haven't you, Paul?
Oh, just a little bit. I'm a big fan.
You know my story. That's very good. Yeah, all of that is true. That's how it came about. And our very first release was a duet that his band leader and I sang, and it got up in the top 10 in the Billboard country charts, so it was considered a hit.
Sure. And so from there, you went on your first tour, and you have said that you were one of the first people to bring glamour into country music, wearing fringe dresses, which were made by your mother, and high heels and long earrings, and really a trendsetter.
Yeah, in that several respects, I guess I was. I didn't begin touring until I graduated from high school in '55. But when I turned about 16, I remember that was the point where I wanted to get out of cowboy boots and hats and,
Sure.
frumpy-looking clothes like that. And I started wearing high heels. So my mother and I designed these dresses with the silk fringe instead of leather, and high heels instead of boots, and low-cut, not real low, but, shoulder-bearing
Sure.
tops and outfits. So, yeah, it was quite different.
To contrast the Kitty Wells image of the time with the gingham dress and the...
Right, she had the gingham dress and the pinafores and things like that. But that wasn't my style either.